Here in Dingle, the water is sourced from this water plant just here. Once the water becomes a responsibility of the county council, certain procedures are followed to ensure that it is safe for human consumption. But is it? And are the locals aware of the dangers associated with chemicals that are added to the water? We talked to FitzGibbon about the dangers associated with fluoridation and the overexposure to fluoride. I'm joined now by FitzGibbon, the Girl Against Fluoride. Hi Aisling.
Hi, how are you?
Thanks for joining us. So could you tell us, for people who are unaware, enlighten us on the Girl Against Fluoride?
Yeah, the Girl Against Fluoride is a public awareness campaign, and it was basically born last year out of sheer frustration. The whole issue with fluoride in the water has been ongoing now since 1964 in Ireland, and most people are unaware of the impact to health, and they think that fluoride is naturally occurring calcium fluoride in the drinking water. So the whole thing is that the fluoride is actually artificially chemicals that are coming in now from Spain, and it's called hydrofluoric acid is the chemical compound coming in. So it doesn't just have fluoride, it also has other contaminants like aluminium and arsenic and lead.
Wow.
Yeah.
And why did you create this alter ego, the Girl Against Fluoride?
It's a celebrity obsessed culture that we live in.
Yeah.
And people like the kind of novelty and entertainment value. So even though it's a serious subject, thought we have to lighten it. And then as a result, then we created this character called the Girl Against Fluoride. And I've been going around the country kind of doing different publicity stunts. Yeah. Going to went to Let's You Picnic. We had a stall in the Body and Soul section. And anyway, we've just kind of gathered loads of support now.
Fantastic. Yeah. And what would you say, obviously you said it's celebrity culture and that's why you created this ego to get awareness, but it is a serious issue at the end of the day. What do you say to people who would oppose your views, government bodies that would say it's put there for a reason? Yeah. Do you think it's doing its job?
Well, they're putting in the water for the alleged benefit of dental health. I mean, it's in the water nearly it'll be 50 years next year, and in that time they've never actually done any safety tests to assess its impact on human health. And it was brought out under this Health Act of 1960, and one of the sections of the act was that it would be to be tested if there was any ill effects that would maybe be presented and maybe people be alerted. To this date, nothing has gone on, and they only focus on the teeth. That's the whole thing. But then last year we found some data from the World Health Organization, and it showed that we had the worst dental decay rates, the Republic of Ireland, in Western Europe. Wow. So we're thinking, okay. And then,
obviously not helping the teeth then.
No, and then you look to the other non-fluoridated countries and how dental decay was actually on the decline anyway. And even when they weren't fluoridating the water, it was going down. So I think it was an awareness of oral hygiene and obviously the nutrition, which, reducing sugar is the main.
How did you start? You're mentioning an osmosis filter there?
Reverse osmosis filter, yeah.
Can fluoride be absorbed to the skin?
In
the shower and stuff, or is it just ingested?
I think from Declan's research and things, it's mainly the absorption through the gastrointestinal, that is going in and you're
So you can buy these filters?
Yeah, you can buy the reverse osmosis filters. They're plumbed in under your sink, so you've got like a separate tap.
Oh, okay.
And that removes the fluoride. You can also get a water distiller, and that's like, you can have that just on your counter, so if people are renting or anything, they could use that.
What about brushing your teeth? Do you use the
I use fluoride-free toothpaste.
Okay.
Yeah. You can get that in most health food shops now.
Health food shops.
Yeah.
Okay. So the most brands like
Colgate's and all Sensodyne, they'd all have sodium fluoride in. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But the whole thing, if people want to kind of investigate how this myth was created and how we all think, here it's like almost robotic. Fluoride, good for your teeth. It will be the automatic response by the majority of people. And there's a fantastic investigative journalist who's called Christopher Bryson, and he's written a book, and he has a great, it's on YouTube actually, called The Fluoride Deception, but his book is The Fluoride Deception as well. And he uncovers the whole kind of scam behind how fluoride ended up in our drinking water in the first place.
So you were saying there you got these facts backed up from the World Health Organization. Do you find it difficult when you're fighting this cause and obviously doing all these public that you have to have your facts from these sources? Where do you find all this information?
Well, luckily there was a very good environmental scientist who started looking into this probably around the same time that we did, and he published a report last year. And his name is Declan Waugh. He's from Bandon. Okay. And he basically brought together all international papers, peer-reviewed papers. I think there's like over 1,200 in his report. And he synthesised all the information showing the impact to human health, also the environmental impact that is contaminating groundwater, you know, is going out into the environment, and also the legal implications. So luckily we have his backing. So this campaign is the kind of publicity side, whereas we have the science with him, and also there's a fantastic website called fluoridealert.org.
Okay.
And that's ran by it's ran by a professor of chemistry and toxicology, and he is linked with a network of people worldwide within the fluoridated countries that are working to get it out.
And you get all the information there.
Everything, yeah. So if anyone,
fluoride.org.
Fluoridealert.org,
So.
and that basically is it summarises all the information. You know, if people want to do their own research, that's the place where I pass them on to that.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And how's this battle been for you? You've been fighting this for how many years now?
Well, it started off really. We started looking into it in about 2011.
Yeah.
And I suppose it really kind of kicked off last year then.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's been a very short space of time in terms of campaigns. I mean, other campaigns can go on for many years, but like the whole thing with this is that we want to just build momentum now with what we're doing. And I'm lucky that I found a pro bono legal team that are taking my case. So we're taking it to the High Court because Ireland has a policy of mandatory water fluoridation.
Yeah.
So we're the only country in Europe that have this policy. Also, it's just Ireland and Singapore, the only countries in the world with this mandatory policy. Wow. So say things for in countries like Canada and America that they want to get it out, they don't have that resistance on the national level. So it's kind of up to the local authorities to make that decision. So it's more difficult here. So we are coming up against more resistance because of the fact that even though Kerry County Council voted to remove fluoride in December 2011.
So you have your local council behind you?
They were behind us, since kind of the beginning. But they said they can't do anything because it's written into law, and it's been the same with other county councils.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you want to fight to have it taken out?
Yeah, because it's just to change the law, basically reverse the law. I mean, the chemicals that they're using in the drinking water, as I said before, the hydrofluoric acid, is a bit of a mouthful. You know, it's coming in from Spain, but we found out last year that the same chemicals were actually used as a pesticide at one point, and they were banned for use as pesticide in 2006. Wow. So that's within the EU, they can't be used as a pesticide, but yet they're using these same chemicals into the drinking water at a concentration of like 0.8 parts per million. But like they're saying that's safe and effective, but they've done no safety tests to confirm whether they're having an impact or not. Wow. So I think it's very negligent for them to continue this policy. Yeah. And the fact that they've had so much correspondence now from ourselves, from people all around Ireland now. Like there's Facebook pages now that have been set up in practically every county against water fluoridation. So we're kind of
see them.
Yeah, so we're basically what we want to have is a kind of a cohesive action push now for all people to put the pressure on their local TDs, also the local councillors. I mean, there's the local elections are coming up next year. And I think the fact that they're trying to charge us for water as well. Yeah. People are kind of thinking, right, if we're going to be paying for a product, then we should demand that it's the best quality that we're receiving, and we're not taking anything. We don't want fluoride in our water. We didn't consent to it. So therefore,
can you just give us the pointers of what damage does fluoride do for people who are unaware and may never have heard of this?
Yeah, I suppose one of the most worrying things would be the neurological impact. I mean, there's been, I think, around...
Because it is a neurotoxin in essence.
Neurotoxin, yeah. There is about 36 brain studies that we can find them all now on fluoridealert.org, and they're showing the link between fluoride and the lowering of IQ. And most of these studies are coming from even naturally occurring countries, naturally occurring fluoridated countries. They're not artificially fluoridating, but even fluoride naturally occurring in high levels is harmful. It's the fluoride ion that's harmful. So for a country to actually fluoridate the water supply, when it's even in naturally occurring countries, they have a problem with it. It's, you know, makes absolutely no sense. But these countries anyway are showing, there's like China, Iran, Mexico, and this was published now by Harvard researchers last year. And they're showing that there is a link between fluoridated communities with the correlated that there's a lowering of IQ with the higher levels of fluoride. And this was backed up then by research which was done in the 80s by a toxicologist called Dr. Phyllis Mullinex. And she was doing animal experiments with rats, and she was feeding them fluoridated water, and she noticed that different behavioural problems. that they're developing symptoms of ADHD, and then after time they're developing cognitive retardation, and they weren't able to follow commands and things like that. And she actually went and she, when she broadcasted her findings, she was fired the next day, and she was never once again hired in academia. So, you know, there's scientists that speak out that are whistleblowers, they get a huge amount of resistance amongst what they're, they don't, because they're not going along with the status quo of fluoride is good for your teeth. So even the likes of Declan Waugh, I mean, he isn't getting support from his peers. He's an environmental scientist, and he's the only person in the country who's pushing this. He hasn't got the backing of, you would imagine that people would be coming behind him, but he's not.
Wow.
I mean,
they're afraid to speak out.
They're afraid to speak out because I think they're afraid of their careers and funding and all these things.
Who do you think is benefiting from this? If the government putting the fluoride in the water, what are they to gain by poisoning people?
Well, I think from behind the scenes, there has to be pressure from lobby groups. I think you know, we'd be naive to not think this, because, I mean, say for example the pharmaceutical industry, they would have a huge vested interest in keeping this in. They actually use fluoride in a lot of their products. Yeah. Like Prozac, one of the ingredients anyway would be fluoride. It's used in a lot of their products, but I mean, there's also the sugar industry. I mean, because of the fact that if you're adding fluoride to the drinking water, instead of actually addressing the real reason of what's causing tooth decay, which is actually sugar intake, it's kind of a way of them getting away with just letting everyone think that it's fine to eat as much sugar as they want. So there is, I suppose, businesses behind this, and the chemical companies as well. Like the most alarming thing that I found out recently was the fact that in Leinster House they actually have the reverse osmosis filters all over Leinster House. Yeah. And they're not consuming.
So are these the filters that takes the fluoride out of the water?
Yeah, the reverse osmosis remove the fluoride. So they have them installed within Leinster House, and I think that this is something.
So they are aware that
I think on some level there is. I think there's some level of ignorance, and then there's other side where, like, the Department of Health set up this expert body, which has been around since 2004, and I think that a lot of them don't review the information. They kind of, you know, anyone who kind of will question that policy, they don't want to know, and they kind of go by the same mantra which is fed to them from the expert body. It's safe and effective.
This is it. Yeah, I suppose if it's coming from the expert body, people
would
tend to agree with that.
Yeah,
Does it frustrate you when you try and speak up about an issue that people think, oh, conspiracy nut?
Oh God, yeah, it really is very annoying, because like the expert body anyway, you know, they call themselves experts, but the majority of them are dentists. Yeah. And they don't have the expertise to understand the systemic impact of consuming fluoride and what it's doing to all the organs, not just the teeth. Yeah. I mean, they're just obsessed with learning or studying about teeth, but like they don't have people like toxicologists or epidemiologists or oncologists, people that you would expect to be on a panel that would understand its impact, but they're mostly dentists and bureaucrats. So I just think it's been set up in a way that it's not going to find the evidence against it, and this is all backed up by, it's been the Forum for Fluoridation published this report in 2002, and this has been critiqued by a number of professionals on the fluoridealert.org, and they basically were saying that what they were coming out with was false, and that they're not reviewing the evidence, that they're just maintaining this policy.
So it's really, you need the power of the people to get behind this, to expose and...
Yeah, so it was basically last May, I met with the solicitor who's taking my case, and he said to me, he was like, right, you need to create a massive public awareness campaign. This is before we went on holidays now. He was like, you need to create a massive public awareness campaign in Ireland. You need to get all the people behind you, especially Dublin in particular, because that will be where the High Court case will be going ahead. And he just said, you need to have such pressure coming up through, and it's filtering up then, and the judges who are sitting on the case will be like, okay, the public opinion is of you know, the incline that they don't want fluoride in the water. They just, and then I think they won't be able to rule against you then, because they'll have the people, you know, and you're meant to be living in a democracy. I think with this campaign now, it seems to have built such a momentum in
the past. Snowballing now, isn't it?
Snowballing, and like people, because of that now, are being energised, and they're like, oh my God, you know, this is something that we can do realistically, and it's just pushing our energy now into this, and it really is picking up pace now, and like Paddy Casey's writing a song, so that should be done pretty soon.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So, like Ray D'Arcy loves D'Arcy loves Paddy Casey. I was going to say Ray D'Arcy loves Ray D'Arcy. Ray D'Arcy loves Paddy Casey. So, you know, that will help us then be able to connect with other people within the media who might think, oh, those fluoride people are nutters. You know, whereas if you have like Paddy Casey and Damien Dempsey and Monday, they're all saying, they support it and they don't want this in the water.
Yeah, exactly.
So it makes it a little bit more safe and more mainstream, and that's the whole aim of the campaign, is to make it as mainstream as possible.
Fantastic. Well, for people at home now who might know about this, what should we do? Should we go online, see your page?
Yeah, so go online onto the girlagainstfluoride.com is the website. And then on Facebook is the Girl Against Fluoride.
Yeah.
And on Twitter we're at Fluoride Girl.
At Fluoride Girl.
At Fluoride Girl. And also in Hot Press magazine is out. That was just the last edition. Now we have here.
A copy here.
Yeah.
Here in Hot Press.
Yeah, Hot Press magazine. It's been running for the past 3 editions now in Hot Press, and there's going to be another one now is coming out today. So this is the one. It was just in the shops till yesterday, but there's a new one out today.
Okay.
And
so that's 4 weeks running now with Hot
4
Press.
weeks running.
Brilliant.
And the journalist who actually took it up, her name is Adrienne Murphy, and she actually that's me with the little baby there.
That's the girl with the baby.
Yeah, not my baby, but it's a neighbour's baby.
Yeah.
Adrienne Murphy. Anyway, she was actually interviewed on the Today Show on RT yesterday.
Yeah.
So, because Adrienne, she actually has written an open letter to the Junior Minister for Health, Alex White, with 27 questions, which he has. We had met him actually last week outside the Department of Health, and we presented him with the letter. So he's agreed to actually sit down with either myself or Adrienne Murphy and go through these questions. So, I mean, it's very hard for them to actually ignore this now, because there's been. Not only are they getting the pressure from, say, Declan Wall, they're also getting it from this campaign, but also now Hot Press are taking it up, and other newspapers.
The media's on your side now.
The media now are picking it up, and I think because Hot Press are covering it, other places can be a little bit braver to want to carry the story, because obviously they don't want to be seen as anti-government, obviously because, with funding issues and everything. But I think now, because it is such a huge issue, and it's something that but it's something that impacts everyone, because we all need water. We all need water to live. And
because more people know about it now, they'll be less afraid to speak up about it.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think what we're hoping for is people, just whistleblowers, just come forward and just and speak out. Because I mean, if enough people are doing it together, they can't come against all of us at the same time. Yeah. So I think it's very hopeful that it will definitely kind of up the ante now over the next few months. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on all of the work that you've done for it so far, Aisling, and I wish you continued success in your campaign.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much for doing this. Cheers.